Hi guys, how's it going? Today I want to speak about the subject of, is the concept of you continuous? Well, think about it this way. All of our cells are dying, or they're multiplying, or they're changing, evolving through time. We've been able to prove it that basically whatever synapses, whatever links we have in the brain and all that stuff, those links are created through time. The connections through the brains and all the living things in it are connected through time, through memory, through the fact of repetition. We know that the brain, for example, isn't even fully formed until we are 26 years of age. So up to 26 years of age, your brain is still forming itself, it's still shaping itself, it's still growing. And even later on, we're still able to create more neurons and a lot of things, like our cells keep on changing, they keep on dividing, and that's why through time the cells that are supposed to be copies keep on copying themselves and they start having faults in them, and that's why we age. But the concept of us is the fact that we are truly ever evolving in our world, in our body, in the age that we have, and in the experiences that we get. And through that, we are able to grow. And our continuous self is not a continuous self. And I think a lot of times, a lot of people have this thing where they want to be remembered. That's why, for example, even on a tombstone, we say, remembered for being blah, blah, blah. And it's that kind of thing, it's that kind of desire, because even though we don't talk too much about mortality, I think that everyone knows that we have a finite time on this earth, and through that we kind of want to make a sort of mark. That's why people have the want to make videos, like I'm making videos, or to create things. It doesn't have to be videos, but to create something positive, be it helping the poor, be it helping even your family, be it helping the next generation, stuff like that. So we have this desire, this urge, this kind of unspoken thing that basically makes us desire that, because we want to feel that our moment on this earth is maybe a little bit more important, and maybe a little bit more important than what it should have been. And by being able to make a mark, by being able to create a way of being remembered, and maybe having future generations seeing us, is kind of amazing. And to me, sometimes I feel like television and movies and even YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff is kind of crazy, because somebody in hundreds of years, if these systems still work, or there's some sort of server that is keeping a kind of log of all this stuff for an archive, some people that are doing and creating stuff now, or that even created videos a little bit in the past, they can be restudied in the next century or in the next couple centuries. And I always find it fascinating that what we're creating now is going to be seen. It's kind of like when you could even, again, you YouTube it, and you can see all these archival videos of the beginning of the 20th century, and it just feels like you're seeing New York in those days, LA in those days, or whatever country you're seeing in those days. And it's really a log of history like no other. And even though we are able to study history through the books and through literature of those days and stuff like that, now on top of that, because we have internet, we have movies, we have all this writing and all that stuff, what happens is that, well, we're basically keeping a perfect archival of these times, of this present, of the past, of the couple of decades that this has been happening in. And the more we're evolving through time, the more it's getting better, and the more archival we get. So we have an exact kind of writing of what has happened. And you know what they say? They always say that wars are, the people who won the wars are written in history books, and the people who won that war are the people who actually wrote that history book, which is kind of interesting. And nowadays, obviously, you can still change these things through editing and through different narrations, but I do think that an image or a video can say 1,000 words, and because of that, knowledge is much more widespread. If you look at back in the 1960s, I was reading that, for example, in those days, only 43% of the world was literate, was able to read. And now, by 2015, it was about 83% of the world. And I'm thinking that, give it a little bit more time, now that we've reached that level of how many people are able to read and stuff like that, I think that it's going to progress slower in the percentage, but at the same time, there might be, within the next 100 years, 200 years, a literacy of over 90% or 95%, 96% of the population of the world would be able to do calculations, would be able to read, would be able to at least do the basic things. And this is where all this history and all these things are just changing over time. So a true self, a true concept of something that is true, that is ever changing, never changing, just doesn't exist. Because even in a picture, even in a video, it can be reinterpreted by whatever you want it to be reinterpreted as. And you can add music, you can add things to these videos and basically make them feel as something completely different, stir a completely different emotion, give people a different feeling on what they're just seeing. And through restoration, Photoshop and all that, you can also alter these things. So the true reality of what it is only existing in this present moment. Nothing else is real. The past is the past. Future hasn't happened. The truth is, and the constant is, the present, until they invent time travel. But we kind of think that if there was actually time travel, somebody from the future would have already come to tell us, or maybe it needs to be invented before it could actually alter the past. Who knows? Anyways, that's it. That's all I have to say on the subject. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.